I am who I am. I got pulled out of the game. The coach said this was the best decision. You know, it's 8 minutes left. And for me, I'd rather take my over like a man. I'd rather take my win the same way. I want to be out there to the last whistle competing. Tired of losing to good teams, and just ultimately want to win. And one day, when it's all said and done, we'll all clearly see that. But in the meantime, while we're in it, I'm sure we won't. So I just keep pushing forward. It's not going to bother me anymore.
Wow. So that's an Odell we haven't heard from in some time. D. Wood, if you were his coach, Kevin Stefanski, and you were watching that, what would you say to him?
Bro, chill. Yeah, everyone here wants to win. There's no question about that. Odell's a hell of a player, man, but at the same time, we're 4-2. We have bigger problems than, just you and trying to feed you the ball. Our quarterback is clearly not playing well. We're able to run the ball, but our quarterback is not playing well. If the quarterback's not playing well, guess what? He can't get you the ball. So, yeah, that's frustration. You got your teeth kicked in by your rival in the Pittsburgh Steelers. I get that. But right now, what we don't want to do is compound situations by having these outbursts. It's just not productive for anyone.
Neek, you look skeptical.
Yeah, I mean, that seems unfair to do that to Odell. I think the reaction is because it's Odell saying it, because I feel like that's the exact sentiment that you want the guy to have. He didn't say anything about wanting the ball. He said that we got to get this right. I'm tired of losing to bad teams, and I'm sick of trying to make people happy. Let's focus and do the work. Like, it seemed like a lot of what Lewis was saying earlier. It seemed like the same sentiment. That's what I got out of that. That was something that I would say, I wouldn't be upset at him. I'd say, all right, we got a team meeting on Monday morning. Say that to everybody else. Saying that I want to be out there and take my ass whooping just the same way I want to be out there winning is the sentiment that I would expect that I would want a team to have. That's the stuff that you build, in my view, that's the stuff that you build a winning culture around. When your team leaders, your best players, your prima donnas, so to speak, your receivers are out there with this type of attitude, like, that's encouraging to me. That seems like what I want my team leaders to be saying. You don't have to say it to the media, but say it in our locker room and get us all on the same page.
Nick, let me tell you something, man. Maybe I'm just, I came in a different culture, man, but I don't need to say anything. I don't need any type of team meetings or anything like you've been a part of these team meetings where everyone has a whole lot to say and they end up backfiring. Yeah. I don't need to hear any talking from anyone. Okay, you just got your teeth kicked in. Show me, okay? Show me on the practice field. Show me on game day. That's the only thing that I want to see. All this talking and stuff, you can cancel that. I don't want to hear anything like that. That's all I'm saying.
Let me get Lewis in. I'm curious to hear his perspective. Lewis, I haven't had a chance to check in with you so far in this hour. You hear Odell, you hear these guys. What do you think?
Sure. Yeah, you know what? I think what he said was, I'm tired of losing to good teams, actually. And that is the most important thing that I think he said right there, because that kind of like builds off of what I was saying earlier about Cleveland. That being that, remember, it transformed from hope to expectations now. And the expectations are that you're not going to just beat the Dallas Cowboys and run the ball for 300-plus yards against a team that right now is totally reeling and doesn't know what's going on. We want to see what you do against the rivalries, against the top-notch teams, against the blue bloods of the NFL. And that's what he was talking about when he said, look, I'm tired of losing to good teams like this, because what he's saying is, I know that in order for us to get the respect that we need to get and that we're searching for, we need to beat good teams and we need to beat them consistently. And I want to be out there helping do that. And even when we're not doing those things, I still want to be out there. Don't save me. Don't try to protect me. I'm willing to go ahead and sacrifice whatever I need to sacrifice in order to help us get to where we want to get to. That's the frustration I sense coming from him, that he wants to be a part of it in good times and bad. And that, look, he was asked the question here. He wasn't going out there saying, hey, look, I need to have the ball more. I need to do this more. Y'all need to do this for me and do this for me. He is recognizing that the reason why they're not getting respect is because in moments like this, they're not performing and they're not getting the job done. And he doesn't want to be someone who is kind of like exempt from the criticism. He's saying, look, go ahead, keep me out there. I'll take my butt kicking along with everyone else, because until we beat teams like Pittsburgh, until we beat them consistently, we're not going to get the respect that we deserve. And he's right. He's 100% right.
And the one pushback I will have against you, D. Wood, is that I agree with you. Do the work. The work is the most important thing. But it's not either or. I think the words that you say have value because of the work that you've done. Like, it doesn't necessarily matter so much exactly how you phrase it or where you phrase it or who you say it to. It matters who is saying it. And if he is someone, which we all understand, has always been passionate, always works hard, always puts it out there, if he says something in a meeting room, it carries different weight. So I agree with you. Don't come out there just talking and don't follow it up with some support. But everything that I've heard about him suggests to me that he is someone who works his ass off. And if he does that and he comes in and follows that with the words, that to me has value. And that's part of how you build a culture in an organization.
I have to run to a break, but the one thing that I keep thinking is this is sort of the downside of having all these stars on your team. You have so many players who are so famous that everything, and his actual reaction yesterday took a lot of people by surprise. Listen.
I was shocked by it. You know, it definitely caught me off guard. And, you know, it was a hard thing for me to hear yesterday, just kind of digesting the news. My heart just hurt all day. I basically got fired yesterday, and then my day of work today consisted of me in Zoom meetings listening to the guy that fired me, and then, you know, locked in a spaced out room, you know, with my replacement for 4 hours today.
It was really emotional as he was talking, and I think people are really struck by it. I was on the radio while it was happening, and I was seeing reaction flying in on social media. Like, can you believe the way this thing played out? Damien Woody, as you watched that, what thoughts went through your mind there?
Well, listen, I feel for Ryan Fitzpatrick in that moment, because here he is in a position where he's been playing some really good football. The Miami Dolphins team has really started to take off under Brian Flores. But, I understand what Brian Flores is doing right now. You know, so many times we want to be quick to throw these rookie, these top pick quarterbacks out there. But Ryan Flores basically said, yes, he's been cleared medically, but he's not ready, okay? We want to put Tua in the most advantageous situation. Here you got the Miami Dolphins team. They're playing good on offense, defense, and it's the perfect environment for your young quarterback to possibly thrive in, so I give him a lot of credit for that.
Dominique, I wanted to ask you. You and I talked about this a little beforehand. I know you hadn't had a chance to see it. Now you have. What was your reaction to what he said?
I mean, it was honest, it was real, it was painful to watch, honestly, but I think we get so used to our athletes going back in the locker room and putting on their lie face and coming out and telling us all these lies that we want to hear. He didn't have time to do that, or he didn't care to do it. He was honest, and you don't get to this level without being competitive, without being passionate, and without being hurt when you feel like you've been wronged. And he certainly has a reason to feel like he's been wronged in this. He's been playing well. You don't lose your job when you're playing well, even if there's a plan around it. And I understand what D. Wood is saying, and I agree. I think this is the right move for Brian Flores, but that doesn't mean that there's not some collateral damage along the way, and that sucks for Fitz because he's playing well.
And maybe part of it, Lewis, is, and Brian Flores says he's going to apologize to his team for this, that this got out into the media before he, the coach, was able to tell the players. So the team found out that the change was being made from reporters, like from ESPN, et cetera. Lewis, what does that mean, and what is that problem with there?
Yeah, it's because you don't want to find things out that way, obviously. I mean, you want your coach to be someone who breaks the big news to you like this, gives it to you straight, gives you the entire story before you hear bits and pieces of it, or hear, just sound bites about what's going on with it, or see your quarterback, who has played some of the best football that he has played in his career, go on and give you a very emotional statement about how he feels as though his heart is hurting, and that he just doesn't quite understand why he's being taken out of the lineup. And Brian's a stand-up guy, and he's going to rectify this with his football team, and he wasn't trying to deceive him in any way. But you definitely can understand what Ryan Fitzpatrick is feeling, because look, he's been in situations where he's been replaced before, and he's been replaced because his production has not been up to par, and he hasn't been the answer for those teams. And he knows that long term he wasn't the answer for this football team. He knew that this day was coming. But the worst thing in the world, I don't care if it's football or anything else, is to know that you have performed, to know that you have done everything that you possibly can, and not just know inside, but you know that everyone else knows it too, because the statistics are there, the evidence is there, that you've done your job, and then you know that because something sounds like it was already predetermined, you still aren't good enough. That, I don't care if it's football or not, there's no other reaction you can expect him to have. That's the one he's supposed to have, so you have to respect it.
Yeah, it was